All right, well, I'm honored to be the star of our first Kaizen summary video here. The project was UPS pick ticket shipping project, and our goal at the start of the project was defined in what's right here is a charter, and the stretch goal was to ship 90% of UPS pick tickets that come here in the mass warehouse within 1 hour of printing. I mean, you can see we revised it a little bit to between business hours, between 8 and 5 Central Time. We defined the, and this actually was done in advance of this week, so we had this coming into the project on Monday. So the end and the start and the end of the process was defined, and we defined that as when the pick ticket was prints here, and at the time it was when the pick ticket was scanned back into DocMan at the end of the process, and that's changed as of now. But we came up with also measurements, which is the percent of pick tickets shipped within an hour, and the internal customers, the external customers, which in this case are our customers, process manager, which of course is Paul Phillips in the warehouse, and the champion, our cameraman here, Glenn. So we started by reviewing this, and then we just jumped right into, after a little bit of training, jumped into the defining the current state of our process the way it is today, which you see up on this wall. And we went through mainly with Paul and Bob and Brad's help from the warehouse, every step that was a part of the process. So you can see there are quite a few steps. 38 steps is what we came up with right now. The green steps are processes. The purple are when we move something. The orange are when we're storing something. The pink is when we're inspecting something or reviewing something. And the blue is when we're waiting for something. So you can see came up with a total of 38 steps here. 18 of which were the process steps, 6 moves, 2 stores, 7 inspects, and 5 waits. And the 2 with the X's on them are the 2 steps that, the value add steps, that things that our customers would be willing to pay for. These 2 are pick all parts in the blue bins, actually picking the parts off the shelf, and then packing them into the boxes. Those are the only 2 things up here that customers will pay for. Everything else is some form of waste, especially the ones that aren't the green steps, the process steps. So the next thing we did was to brainstorm our ideal state. Like in a perfect world, if we had unlimited resources, what would the process look like? And you see all that brainstorming is up here. It led to the ideal state, which is in the middle, right here. You can see it's only 4 steps, you know, and it's not realistic for where we're at today. You know, if in a perfect world, if we had unlimited money to invest, this is what it might look like. We came up with robots running around and you know, all kinds of crazy things, and it ended up being just 4 steps. The next thing we did was we looked at the barriers preventing us from achieving that ideal state. And obviously with robots and things, it's like resources, you know, and cost and benefit was a big thing with things like that. But so these are the primary barriers we came up with. The first one that's right here is not knowing the shipping costs at the time of order. That led to quite a few problems down the road because we do not know the shipping costs until the parts are packed into a box and pretty much ready to ship. You know, some of the causes of that, we don't have weights or dimensions in our system. Companies pack their parts differently in different size containers. We offer many shipping options. Another one was IT. If we were going to do something like automated. We don't really have the IT resources, and probably the cost benefit on something like that wouldn't be worth an investment in something like that. The third, and probably the most important barrier, was we don't have standards, standardized work for order entry. That means like we don't have anything we really train on, like for our salespeople to on order entry. We have some training that's out there, but we don't have anything specific to shipping. How to fill in the shipping fields. We also, we offer so many different options to our customers. It causes some problem. We really haven't done training on this, so it creates a lot of problems today in the warehouse because they don't get any kind of standard things, and they end up dealing with a lot of exceptions in their process, and it costs them a lot of time going back and talking to our salespeople to fix issues, or figuring out, how the customer wants something shipped. So once the barriers were done, we went back to the board over here and determined what is feasible today. What we came up with was our target state, and you can see, you can read this number. We're at 18 steps now, down from 38. So we cut out 28 steps. There are 12 process steps, 2 move steps, 1 store step, 2 inspect, and 1 wait. So, in theory, it's really a much more efficient process. So we got to this point basically at the end of day Tuesday, and it was really pretty cool because then on Wednesday we actually got out into the warehouse, and there were a few things that needed to get changed around to make the process work, and that just all happened either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. And the warehouse actually tested this new process, I think, starting Wednesday afternoon. And the first afternoon was a little rough, and we were working out some IT bugs. But as of Thursday, same deal. There's quite a few bugs to work out, and just adjusting the new process. But today, I believe we're around 70% of our shipments are going out in under an hour. So, we didn't quite hit the 90, but compared to where we were invoicing the shipments and actually shipping them the next morning. So we were at 0%. So we basically went from 0% to 70% on that. So now, like issues like when we're sending next day airs and customers actually receiving their shipment before they get their order acknowledgement email, that's no longer going to be an issue, because those will go out immediately after the shipment, which will be hopefully under an hour. Just a few other things that I can think of. One of the big things is we used to print 2 pick tickets here. And one of them was used to pick the order. The other was sent as a packing list, basically, for the customer. And that led to a few problems. It included things like delivery instructions with possibly some things we didn't want customers to see. And it also priced the parts on that shipment without tax and without shipping cost. So we got a lot of people paying off of that and treating it almost like an invoice. So they would short pay, so our accounting department would have to deal with a lot of that. And also on prepays, they'd get the same thing. They'd get a priced packing list with the cost of the items, and also we were dealing with duplicate payments, and that was a major headache to run into those for the accounting department too. Another thing for the warehouse, the idea is this is going to prevent, basically, they would do receiving in the morning, and all the orders would pile up throughout the day, and they'd start shipping orders about 2 o'clock, or between 2 and 3, and they'd have a stack of an average day was about 55 shipments. So they'd have a big stack, and if they ran into any issues, it was very difficult trying to coordinate with our salespeople or customers, and this just keeps keeps that pileup from happening. It's kind of one-piece flow, so if there are problems, we can identify them earlier in the day and get those things shipped and get things straightened out. And it prevents that big buildup in kind of the hectic last 2 or 3 hours of the day here. So, we look forward. I'm sure the process isn't finished, and it's going to continue to improve over time, but I think we got a really good start in this first week, and it was a really good kickoff to our first real Kaizen that we're doing in this 12 weeks.